Okay, it's a little bit after 2 o'clock, and I would like to welcome you to the Weatherford College Board of Trustees meeting today. Before we do the call to order, I'd like to have a little statement from Luke Haynes. Dr. Luke Haynes.
Just a slight change in our procedure. I've been on the board for quite a while, and to my shame, I don't know why it's not occurred to me that we do not recite either pledge as part of these meetings, and I think that it's high time that we do that. Most every organization that I belong to does do that, and Weatherford College needs to as well. So, Mr. Baker, if you can, if everybody can rise for the invocation, if you'll deliver that.
You bet. Please bow with me. Lord, we're very thankful for you today. We're thankful for the beautiful weather you've given us. We pray for the folks in the Northeast today. They're covered in a blizzard, that you protect them, especially those community colleges that are up there that are trying to educate students. Thank you for our board and their service. Thank you for their deliberations, and please be with them. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you all would address the American flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 2 is open forum for individuals not on the agenda. Do we have any of those today, Crystal? Thank you. Item number 3, President's Report. Dr. Eaton.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Weatherford College Board of Trustees, I'd like to make a few short recognitions and updates. I would first like to recognize Shirley Brown and the Weatherford College Math Department for the outstanding work they do each year with the area math competition. This event draws over 110 area high school students to our campus each year. Students from 14 high schools participated in this year's event, and the reviews have been phenomenal. Teams from as far away as Abilene drove to our Weatherford campus to participate. It is amazing how fast the word spread when you are doing great things for students. This is a wonderful recruitment tool for Weatherford College. Shirley, I would just like to say thank you to you and your department and all of those volunteers for a job well done. I would also like to recognize Brent Baker, Liz Osina, Jeff Lightfoot, Teresa Hutchinson, and the Weatherford College baseball team, the Weatherford College cheerleaders, and the Weatherford College mascot for braving the freezing temperatures to partner with Texas Health Fitness Center of Willow Park and the Winter Wonderland event. Event coordinator said that our students and staff showed up early and stayed late to assist in the areas that were needed. They also stated that our students were fun, respectful, and they were great representatives of Weatherford College. This is another perfect example of a community outreach event. Thank you for everyone that took part in this community outreach event. Enrollment update. I'm pleased to report that Weatherford College's spring enrollment was up approximately 6.5% year over year. Our spring enrollment stands at 5,602 students, the highest spring enrollment in Weatherford College history, more than 300 students higher than the highest enrollment we had previously had. Contact hours were up slightly. Likewise, dual credit enrollment was up 32.8%, and online enrollment was up 5.23%. Wise County realized an 11.25% increase in enrollment and a 14.72% increase in contact hours, making it the only campus to record a year-over-year increase. We also saw a 15.73% increase in our Hispanic student population and a 15.38% increase in our African American student population. In regard to gender, 60% of our spring students are female and 40% are male. 77% of our students are less than 25 years of age, but we did enroll 10 students over the age of 65. Employee notices. DMAC Local requires the college president to provide the names of contract employees that have resigned since the last board meeting. In accordance with this policy, the following individuals have either resigned or retired. Guillermo Renderos, Sonography Director, resigned. Stephen Tuttle, physical science instructor, resigned. Eddie Fang, government instructor, resigned. Tom McKelvey, physical therapy assistant instructor, retired. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? The next item we have, item number 4, is the consent agenda and financial reports. Before we get into that, and because it is critical that we get the calendar out, there have been a couple of minor adjustments to the calendar, and what I want to do is let Mr. Hindy quickly explain those, and then consider this as part of the consent agenda, because, as I said, we've got catalogs and schedules that we need to publish. Mr. Hindy.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Board, by Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board's rules, we have to teach over a 15-week semester for the long semesters with a 16th week for our final exams. The THECB allows us to count as a single teaching day as a week in a semester. If we will agree to start our semesters on Friday, each long semester for the fall and spring, we meet the obligatory number of weeks with the smallest impact possible to our students and our teaching. The Monday start date, which we have proposed in your packet, would have forced us to add Monday to the end of the course schedule to meet that 15-week compulsion. And in turn, it would have resulted in the final exams being conducted Tuesday through Friday. So a student taking a Monday course would have taken a final exam on Friday, which means some of them wouldn't have recognized the day of the week change, and we would have had students missing exams. That's not conducive to effective teaching. So we've spoken with faculty. They felt that if we moved to a schedule that began on Friday, where we teach very few classes, we would be able to offer an effective schedule that allows us to meet our high school expectations for dual credit and allows us to meet our ongoing college expectations. So if it works as scheduled, we'll have the planned Thanksgiving break and the planned spring break in concordance with most of our area school districts. We appreciate your considering that change and apologize for the lateness in which it arrived to you.
Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda and financial reports with that adjustment to the academic calendar. If there's someone who does not want to approve that with the inclusion of the changes to the academic calendar, then we will pull it out of there. So I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Thank you very much. The next item is item number 5, consideration and possible action, adoption of the 2017-18 tuition and fees.
The administration is recommending at this time no increase in tuition and fee. We have some small fee adjustments, but no changes in tuition, and that was really due to the recommendations from the advisory committee in the fall, and due to the fact that enrollments were down a little bit in the fall, we were trying to keep tuition as low as we could. I think the state in district is $82 per hour. We're at $80. We're just a little bit under. We have strive to stay at the average, but in light of our enrollments being down just a little bit, we felt it at this time not to increase them. One of the things we did do in the fall with the enrollments being down, we had in the past been charging a late registration fee and a reinstatement fee, and the administration took it upon themselves at that time to forego those fees in the fall to try to encourage students to come in. So we would like to recommend in the future that we do away with those fees. We think they've been more detrimental than they have been help to us. Also, small fees such as the card replacement, $10, we're decreasing that from the $25 charge because of the cost. We're changing the way we charge for the summer dorm charges. We're charging a straight flat $20 per night at the summertime, and that was basically recommended from the housing group as a easier accounting wise to do that, because they do come and go quite a bit to different camps. And then we had the course fee changes there listed on page 3, and those are for new courses, I believe, added at this time, and any changes that we felt necessary. But once again, No changes in the tuition or the differential tuition that we've charged in the past.
Some of the acronyms, CJA, Criminal Justice Course, right?
Right.
How about FIRS?
Fire science,
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Fire Science? ITCC?
that's the networking classes for the networking. Cisco's been dropped, so it's a replacement.
And then the VNSG.
Vocational nursing.
Okay, very good. Any questions or comments on the tuition and fee changes? I want to compliment the staff and administration. I think it's great. This is, what, 3 years in a row that we've been able to maintain?
It's our fourth year.
Fourth year in a row. I don't know that there's any other colleges in the state that are able to do that. So it's really a kudo to you. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I have one. What on earth is the health science reasoning test?
For the VNSG program,
It just says HSRT.
I think it is.
For the
I think
associate
it has to
degree.
do with the vocational.
it's the vocational nursing program test. What they've done, Mr. Watson, is they've been testing them already in the program, but they've not experienced the level of student success that they want. And so they've adopted a new series of examinations that occur over the course of the program that are designed to test the students' acquisition of knowledge and where they're weak, so that by the time they get to their licensure exam, they're where they want them to be. That's a little bit more expensive test, but to produce better results across the board, that's what we've elected to do. With your approval.
Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion then that the Board of Trustees approve the 2017-18 tuition fees and tuition and fee schedule as presented.
Move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Thank you very much. Next item, consideration of possible action, Board of Trustees meeting schedule, and I believe
That was me.
Matt? Yep.
Yes. I'm back asking if there could be some reconsideration on moving back to monthly meetings. I was looking at the bylaws, and the bylaws from many years back specify that. I know that we voted to change that, but I don't know. I just feel like it's a good thing to do, to meet monthly, and it's always beneficial to me. I don't miss too many meetings, but if I miss a regular meeting, well, then it puts a pretty good gap in the staying up on all the different things that are going on here. So I put that on here, and I'd like to talk about it if anybody wants to talk about it. If not, I'd like to make a motion that we go back to monthly meetings.
I don't have any problem with that because we have sometimes taken off, was it July or something? August, we have a bunch of meetings with the budget.
I know.
But we could still keep open the option that we could decide in May or June if we wanted to take the July month off. And it might be better for everybody to be informed on a more regular basis. That's my 2 cents worth, whatever.
I concur.
You know me, I prefer quarterly meetings rather than this. How much administration hours go into making these board packets and things like that?
There's quite a bit of work involved, but we're up here. I mean, it's up to the board. We serve at your pleasure, so whatever the board
Is
decides.
it harder to do a bi-monthly meeting than it would be? Is there more hours that go into like setting up a packet as the way we have it right now than doing it monthly, or vice versa, or?
I would say Teresa has less work when she's putting the packets together, doing it every other month. But once again, we're happy to do whatever the board requests.
The only thing I would maybe think about, Dr. Eaton, is I know sometimes you don't get all the information until late. I'd like to see maybe the departments really work to get their stuff in time so everything gets loaded in accordance with Teresa's drop dead date, so she can get the things out.
Yeah, the financial side of it is the hardest part.
Yes.
That's the most difficult part.
31st falls on the, right before the meeting. It's a little bit difficult, but
Yeah, and you have that situation in May. Yeah, wait a minute. June 1st, we moved it for a special change. That's
so we
right.
will be probably having to send that out the
I would entertain, if we did that and we came to June, that we just said you'll provide both of them at the next meeting. I mean, everybody's flexible on this, but I think it would allow a little more continuity. Any other comments or thoughts?
I concur. I like that idea.
And Mac, you want to make your motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's been made. We have a second.
The motion is monthly?
Been moved to go to a monthly meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none.
Thank you.
It carries. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The next item is reports.
Is Mark Jackson here? There he is, Mark. Come on up. Larry, do you have our clicker? As many of you know, we've been working with Granbury ISD in Hood County for approximately 7 years now. I think Dr. Russell is back here as well. Dr. Russell is the dean of our county in Granbury. You want to stand up here with us, David? And what we had hoped to do was eventually pass a branch campus maintenance tax and build a new facility in Hood County. We have gone back and forth throughout the years, and we've really determined that it's probably best to wait until we can bring Hood County into our official taxing district, to have them annexed into our taxing district, which we think is probably 5 to 10 years maybe down the road. Hopefully sooner, but we're trying to be realistic. What the ISD has done recently is they decided that they wanted to do a study with the University of Texas at Arlington to determine what would be the best use of the buildings and the land that they currently have that are surrounding our current campus. And since they actually own the campus that we occupy, they had the choice of selling all of it and us not having a campus. Well, what their study determined was there were 3 issues that were very high priorities for the community. And one of those 3 issues was to have Weatherford College have a presence in Granbury and Hood County. So what they decided to do at that point was to look at the land and the buildings that they had and determine what might work to cut out for Weatherford College and work a deal with us that was reasonable and all of us could live with. Do you have any additions to that, Mark?
No, I think you capitalized it very well. UTA's got an Institute of Urban Studies that's been around for about 50 years, and they do a lot of work for municipalities and public entities around the state, and on projects just as this, because, and I don't know, you probably have the, yeah, you've got the rendering in here, but we recently just wrapped up an $85 million bond, which included moving our administrative functions out of these buildings that we're talking about that surround your current campus. And so we've kind of started, begin talking with the city of Granbury as well as Dr. Eaton, and we think we've got kind of a hand-in-glove solution on how to parse up the property and allow Weatherford College the opportunity to expand their presence at some point, whether it's immediate or over time, and at the same time provide the city with an opportunity to add to their parks and recreation resources such as Decker Gym and the football field that's behind where your campus sits. So,
You want to talk about the 2 options? This is option 1.
yeah, there's 2 options, and understand, we commissioned the Institute of Urban Studies last fall, probably about 4 to 5 months ago, so there's been a lot of work to get to this point. And one of the things they did was conduct that community survey Dr. Eaton mentioned, and having a higher education presence in the county
and Weatherford College specifically there was high importance. So what we came up with, and where we're at this point, is two options. Current option one here shows where your building is, and Kevin was just pointing at it right there. The two buildings adjacent to it, one on the left that says Conference Center, used to be an old cafeteria, so it's basically a wide open building at this point. So from a construction standpoint, it'd be rather easy to repurpose. You could just throw up some walls and essentially create some classrooms. There's an industrial kitchen in there, so you've got a lot of plumbing and other things that you could probably create some labs and things of that nature. The training center right there is probably a building we'll want to maintain in the ISD. We're talking about moving our Behavioral Transition Center and STARS Academy into that building. That building's got a nice subdivision, kind of goes right down the middle of it, and by law we have to keep a quote-unquote division between BTC and STARS, and that building would probably be perfect to move those functions into. Now you can see where Kevin's pointing, that actually currently is a building that sits right there. This was the old high school, and then it became an elementary, and then it became the administrative offices, and you'll see in option 2 the building's still in the rendering. But here we've removed it, created some green space that would allow kind of a nice park-like atmosphere for your students, where they could go have their lunch, study, or do whatever they want to do. And then you see all this other green space. That area, as well as the old football field and the Decker Gym down on the left, we would all convey to the city. The city of Granbury is very interested in all of that because, again, it adds to the recreation piece. They don't currently have an indoor gym or facility for basketball and things of that nature. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. I think this is probably the ideal thing to do. I don't know if you want to go to option 2.
I will go to option 2. I will point out, too, that Mr. Jackson was also talking about if we went with option 1, the college would be allowed to take all of the parking and the land that would be in this area right here. So the only thing that the ISD wants to retain is going to be the training center. Everything else on the outskirts would be ours, and that would allow for expansion in the future of the college into this area that's going to be made into a green space currently. Mr. Martin, yes, sir.
So we would be able to keep the existing structure.
Yes, sir.
Where we've already got it set up and
Yes,
teaching
sir.
classes. And if we decided to expand, it would not interrupt what we've already got going on.
No, and actually what we could do right off the bat is we could expand into this building, which my pointer is dying, but we could expand into the conference center building, and then say 15 years down the road, 10 years down the road, if enrollment had gotten to the point that we really had to have another structure, we would have that green area where we could build a structure. Or, like Mr. Jackson and I talked about earlier today, if they were to come into our taxing district through annexation over the next 5 or 10 years, then we might be able to do a revenue bond to build something in that area. But, you know, that's a long way down. What we're looking at right now, we've got a lot of space in our current building, but I would say we're utilizing most of it, aren't we, Dr. Russell?
Yes.
And you've seen the building that's next to us, the conference center. Do you feel like that could be retrofitted to work well for the college?
I do.
And, you know, you may be asking that where it says training center, and I'm talking about the district maintaining that building. Obviously, there's some details that need to be worked out here. That obviously would landlock us there, so we'd have to probably have a memorandum of understanding or maybe some kind of long-term ground lease or something that would allow us, where you guys would allow us to use some of the parking there. But, you know, and that's a detail that can be worked out
Mr.
later.
Jackson asked me when we were going over it if we would be willing to make some path that they would be allowed to use to get through, and I said, I think we could probably work that out.
Maybe just jump, you know, just jump over.
And then option number 2, you can see the existing administrative annex is shown right here. Well, I walked through that a few weeks ago, and we talked about the possibility of maybe the college taking that building over as well, because it's set up in a way that it would be pretty easy to come in and renovate and break it into larger classrooms. But when we started thinking about the cost that was going to be associated with that compared to what we already have in this building next to us, it made more sense to go ahead and tear this building down. And I think the more the ISD talked about it, they would prefer to have another park-like environment in the green space that's right here. So if I'm not mistaken, the ISD has kind of taken this off of the choices that we have as far as expansion. Now, we will be able to maintain this green space if you would like, but we're not going to have this building associated with it, which I think is great because the main road is right here. And from the main road right now, you can't see our campus. So a lot of people don't even know it exists. Once this building is taken down, you're going to have a line of sight from the main road to our campus, so people will know. And my thought is, we have signage on the sides of the building so people will know it's Weatherford College. Mr. Jackson also talked earlier today about the ISD allowing us to put a very nice sign right here that's large, and maybe it says Weatherford College, Granbury campus, in partnership with Granbury ISD or something, so they know that we're located right there and it's easy to see. There is a sign right in this area. Is that right, Dr. Russell? But most people miss it. If you're not looking for the sign, you're not going to see it. But if you were to put it right here and make it a nice rock sign, I think it would draw attention to our campus, and it might help enrollments. Even though enrollments are strong there right now, I think it would help boost them.
How many, what's the enrollment now?
We're approximately 300.
Yeah.
Approximately 300 this semester.
What is the square footage, give or take, of the current?
I think it's about 18,000 square feet. Do you know, Dr. Russell, off the top of your head?
Number 22 something.
Really? And it may be. It's 2 stories. The building that we are currently occupying, which is this building, it is a 2-story structure, and we have classrooms on both the first and the second floor. The building that we would also be able to occupy in the future is a 1-story structure. It has very tall ceilings. I don't know if they could come in and make it 2 stories. I guess you could do whatever you wanted to spend money to do. But I think even as a 1-story, you could probably get 4 nice-sized classrooms out of that area, depending on how you were to break it up.
Is there a chance, or I can't remember, of some vocational things going in here?
We have an agreement with Hill College
Yeah, I
that
remember
if
that.
they are not teaching or we're not competing against something they have in the counties that butt up against Hood County,
Okay.
that we can offer. We are doing some workforce courses there right now, and we have talked about expanding that with Hill's approval.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Kevin, is that space in the upper left, right in, I don't remember if there's any building on that.
There's
or
a bank. There's a bank right here, a bank, and then there's a car wash, I believe, right there. Is that what it's
Car wash is on this side.
Is it? Okay.
Okay.
But it is occupied. That's just not owned by the ISD,
Right.
so they whited that out.
I didn't remember.
What do you envision then as the next steps?
Well, we were going to go into closed session and discuss, what the idea would be as far as the funding of this. And then once the board is interested or not interested, we would take a vote at a future board meeting. If you voted that you wanted to move forward with this, then we would take it to the ISD board, and I believe their ISD board would approve it or not approve it, depending on what your recommendation is.
I would envision then any questions that come out of closed session, unless you want to stay around, we could have Kevin funnel those to you. I want to make sure that we're on record that
I'd be happy to stay. I've got about 20 minutes to give.
Yeah, he has another
I apologize.
meeting. He's gotta
you better
go
hit the
to.
road.
Yeah, I didn't know about your meeting. I hadn't planned initially.
Yes.
I did
that's
have a
okay.
meeting.
We originally thought that I would just present it to the board, but I called and told him we were presenting it today, and I said, if you want to come, you can. He was actually in Cleburne. He said, well, I do want to come. I was okay.
And understand, although this is conceptual, we're highly motivated in Granbury to do something with this property. We have no interest in carrying the property long-term. especially that administration wing in the middle. The last thing you want is an empty building with broken out windows and that sort of thing sitting there. It doesn't look good. But the other thing is understand our philosophy and the way we're approaching this is this was long ago paid by the Granbury School District taxpayers. We're not in this to make money. In fact, although UTA is going to ascribe a market value to it, if the law allows, we're going to cut it very thin. We're really just looking for whoever we convey it, whether it's you and or the city, that you'll pick up the cost of conveyance. And that would probably include, of course, surveying, replatting, any titling and changing the deed out. But outside of that, we're not looking to make money. Now, I will say, the caveat is that administration wing, we have gotten an initial estimate. Demolition would run about $100,000 on that. So there may be a nominal price tag, but again, I think this would be a bargain, and this would be a great long-term solution
Hey, you
for
guys,
all parties concerned.
Yeah. Granbury, since when did the campus start down there?
It's been almost 7 years now, and I do want to point something out, Mr. Martin. I don't know if you remember,
I refrain.
but Mark was on the front end
Yep.
of this whole process,
Yep.
and the reason that we have the facility we have today is due in large part because of Mr. Jackson's efforts, you know, working with the school board, working with the ISD, and working with the community. So we owe him greatly for the presence we currently have.
And a good thing about this location too, it's still pretty much right in the middle of a major part of the ISD complex.
Yes.
And so kids that are going to school to your other schools that are close by there, they're going to see Weatherford College every day. And
To that point, if I could just make a quick point, would you point to the upper left-hand corner of that parking lot?
Oh,
Down
right here?
below.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there, the upper left-hand corner.
Okay, right here?
No, down below.
Here, you point.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not tech savvy.
I've never seen two guys try to use the same
Yeah.
finger.
I went upper left and I went lower left. Okay.
Kevin was pointing down here, but
Yeah.
really, right here is a major stoplight. Highway 144 terminates right here. And this is Pearl Street, otherwise known as Business 377. And I guarantee you, probably 80% of our high school kids travel through this intersection every single morning on the way to high school.
That's where our sign
So-
needs to be. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, Brent knows. So this is a well-traveled intersection, and I think Kevin's right. If we take that out and put a nice big monument sign out here, maybe it says Weatherford College and Granbury ISD Educational Complex or whatever. You know, we'll work that out with you. We're again highly motivated to make this thing work.
Mark, you guys have been nothing but a pleasure to work with, and it's been a success. I mean, number of students now is up in the thousands that we've had here.
Yeah.
And
Y'all been a great partner, and it's important we have higher ed in Dade County. So.
well, I think, thank you very much. We'll let you go, and we'll talk, and Kevin will get back with you with any
And
questions we've
I
got.
do want to let you know, Dr. Largent, the superintendent of the ISD in Granbury, is also very excited about the partnership with us, and he and Mark, are you still the president of the board?
I'm currently vice president.
Vice president of the board, and he was past president, and they work closely together, and they've been discussing this issue, so I want to thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Dr.
Appreciate it.
Russell, appreciate you.
All right, any questions on that issue? All right, update on the call center, Dr. Eaton?
I'm sorry, sir.
Update on the call center?
Oh, that's going to be Rhonda Torres doing that.
Good afternoon to the members of the Board of Trustees, and thank Dr. Eaton for allowing me to speak today. And I'm going to apologize in advance because I think in your board packet you have what I'm going to say, but for the benefit of the audience, I'll repeat it. At WC, we're always looking for ways to improve customer service, and that's been a huge initiative of Dr. Eaton's. The call center was a collaborative effort between instruction, student service, the business office, and technology to do so. Our problem was identified by Diane Slocum, who is our switchboard operator. During peak registration times, customers were calling and phones weren't being answered in financial aid, business services, and student services because they were dealing with face-to-face registration and unable to do so. As a result, I don't know about you, I hate voicemail and that type of thing, so customers were getting very frustrated and calling back and letting us know about it. So we looked for a solution, and we got all the players in a room, and sometimes that's not easy when you're trying to tell another department, well, there's a problem in your area. But Andrew Cantrell, Adam Finley, Diane Slocum, Beverly Gibbs, Lisa Cody, and myself, we met together to come up with a workable solution. And Adam and Andrew were very, very receptive to what we were asking them to do, and we appreciate that. So what we decided, that this is happening during peak registration time, so it's really not a full-time position that we were needing. We needed 3 to 4 part-time employees that could be hired to answer the phones during the call center, during this time period. As a result, there was an open space in the library. Valerie was very gracious. We moved in, and technology set up phone lines and computers. Also, we trained. There were training sessions provided with information provided from Andrew's area and Adam's area to train these employees to be able to answer basic questions and concerns, because sometimes someone just simply wanted to know, how to go through and do a payment plan, that type of thing. But there also were other concerns that could not be addressed. So rather than having to go through 20, 25 voicemails, what we did is we set up computers, and that employee would email that concern to the person that would be responsible for it, and they were able during their downtimes to pull up their email and respond as quickly as possible. We feel like it was a huge improvement in customer service to those customers and potential customers that reach out to us, via the phone lines. And it also created a lot of less stress in the workplace, because we weren't getting those angry phone calls. It resulted in 0 complaints, and I think it was a positive first contact for our customers. Thank you very much.
How many days do the peak times run for these registrations, and is it for every semester or just the fall and spring when it's real heavy?
What we plan to do is do it during spring, summer registration, and also in the fall. And I would imagine that fall registration would be our busier times. And Adam, you and Andrew, feel free to.
Yeah, for this summer, we'll have to implement it again.
So yeah.
So have you had a trial run with this back?
Yes.
For the winter, not for the summer.
We did it for the
We picked
winter.
up right after Thanksgiving and ran through till classes started.
So we've done our first trial.
I would just wonder, is there a way that you track to make sure every call gets returned within a short amount of time? I know that's hard, but getting voicemail is one thing. Getting voicemail, leaving a message and never getting called back is even worse. So I would encourage you to make sure that you got a way to make sure every call is returned, even if it's a hi, even if you get the other person's voicemail, you at least have on record and show that you did return the call and let them know that you're interested. Is there a way to ensure that?
I think we did a pretty good job with that this time. With a lot of training took place, and not that many voicemails were really left. I think they were
They would get a lot of the
satisfied
questions answered.
with those questions. It's amazing. They just want to talk to a person
Sure.
a lot of times.
And that's the main thing, and we talked at Cabinet at length about this. How many people call and go through the system, never get to talk to a person, they're so frustrated that they just give up? How many students have we lost throughout the years? And that's our concern. We don't want to lose students because they can't get a hold of somebody when they call the college. I would like to take a moment and let Diane stand up.
I was about to do
Okay,
that, Kevin.
go ahead.
I'd like for Beverly and Diane to stand up. These two ladies, I'm the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
These two ladies implemented this process and followed it through.
You're wonderful.
Who's running the switchboard right now? Thank you very much.
I get voicemail right
You know, I would say, have we updated the music on the whole thing yet? Rhonda,
I'm sorry.
have we updated the music when you're on hold with the switchboard lately?
That's in process. It's
We're
been
working on that.
discussed.
We're working on it. We also think that Brett Baker needs to probably be our voice.
Yeah.
The voice of college.
Voice of Weatherford College.
I'm the one that'll make
He
them
can
angry.
even sing if you want.
Right. So that will be coming.
Do you need anything from the board right now? Is there anything we can provide or help you
No,
with?
thank you for what you've provided. And
There'll probably be a little bit of extra dollars in that budget to help take care of this, but I consider it a cost of doing business.
I understand. I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To answer your question, yes. There is software that allows for phone tracking,
For phone tracking?
for call tracking and stuff, so.
And we can
You might-
follow up with that.
Check. You bet. Okay, and the next item is campus carry.
Good afternoon.
Do you mind standing up there where we get a better voice, Carrie? And I,
Not a problem at all.
Paul, you gonna sit
Thanks,
there
Al.
with it?
yeah, Paul's got a little bit of a stake in this one also.
Sure does. Well, good afternoon. Within your board packet, you will find CHF Legal. This is a policy and development relating to campus carry, which was prepared by TASB. This policy will be presented to the board for formal approval at the board meeting in April. Today's presentation is an informational report. Senate Bill 11 allows for students, employees, and community members to conceal carry firearms on campus. This law will go into effect August 1st, 2017 for community colleges and will allow for individuals who have a license to carry, formerly known as CHL, to carry concealed firearms onto Weatherford College campuses. This law does not allow for the open carry of a firearm on campus. Several current statutes will still be applicable and prohibit the concealment of a firearm in certain locations or events on campus. As example, current law prohibits concealed carry in rooms where a meeting of a governmental entity is held, so long as proper notice is given.
Like here, right?
Yes, sir. This would apply to board meetings as well as active polling sites. Additionally, interscholastic events such as sporting events or areas licensed to carry will still be prohibited based on current state law. Senate Bill 11 also additionally allows for the college president to establish reasonable rules, regulations, or other provisions regarding the carry of concealed handguns by license holders on the college campus as approved by the Board of Trustees. An ad hoc committee has been created to assist in the development of local procedures that will provide additional provisions on campus carry, specifically recommendations on exclusionary zones or areas where concealed carry is prohibited. This committee is continuing to gather feedback from the college community to assist in the development on these recommendations. For the safety of the campus community, the ad hoc committee is currently recommending the following locations or events as areas for possible exclusionary zones: Betty Jo Crum Graber Athletic Center, Roger Williams Ballpark, special events which would include college plays or other events within the Alcac Fine Arts Center, County Village student housing. It is being recommended public areas within housing will not be prohibited. The storage of a firearm within housing will be prohibited. College testing centers. The contractual requirements of testing companies prohibit weapons within the testing center. Formal hearings for student conduct. And lastly, individual employee offices as determined by the employee. Appropriate notice must be given, and the office must not be generally accessible by the public. As the ad hoc committee continues to discuss campus carry with the college community, additional areas of exclusion may be presented. A formal presentation for approval of exclusion zones and policy will be made at the April board meeting. Much of the work done and the individual leading the discussion on campus carry is Chief Paul Stone. He or I can address any specific questions the board has at this time, and we look forward to presenting a finalized policy at the April board.
Yes, the softball field also.
Yeah, I've got a question. I'm an LTC holder. Does the posting have to, is it a 30.06, 30.07 type posting? And
Yes, sir. Some of it's 3006, some of it's 3007.
right.
So we're
Okay,
going to have to
and
figure that out.
how will that be handled? I mean, typically I see those as just a sign. I mean, how's that supposed to be handled?
That's exactly right. It's just going to be a sign at the entrances of our athletic facilities. Now, fine arts it's kind of a little different animal because we have classrooms in there too.
Uh-huh.
So what we will do is we will have portable signs. When we have a event actually in the Fine Arts Center,
Yeah.
we will put the signs up in front of the Fine Arts Centers, probably those billboard type signs that we can set up.
That kind
And
of
that way we
worries me.
remove them.
It does, you know, because if it's not posted properly, well then it's not proper notice.
And You're actually correct, but we get a little leeway as far as campuses on our signage and how we notify. Everything that come out in the law is basically putting responsibility on the LTC. They have to know. It's kind of like when you get your driver's license. You got to know the rules of the road. They're going to have to know where they can and can't carry. And most of ours is just going to be where law won't allow you to carry anyway. The only thing we're considering is private offices where there's only one person in that office, giving that person the choice if they want that in or not. So.
I'm a little curious about how the stuff at the dorms will work, but I can wait until you get the college-specific plan put together. I'm curious, any statistics or anything back from the universities that have been doing it for a while now?
There are a few out there. Of course, Texas, we've just been into it for 9 months, somewhere in there. Everything has gone seamless, law enforcement side-wise anyway, and I believe that's the case for everything else. I think they had one, Tarleton had one accidental discharge, which means that person wasn't abiding by the law to begin with, because that gun should have never been out and been played with or whatever he's doing, or her. So there's 7 other states that have had this law for some odd years. There's not that much out there. I mean, I expect it to be seamless.
There's lots of backpacks. The thing that I've always been concerned about is if a person is not carrying it on their body, but they just stick it in their backpack and then it gets lifted or dropped or something like that. So I'm kind of curious about how that'll work out when you get to that point to present to us.
Yeah, and some of the law does state specifically, if you're carrying on this campus, it has to be concealed and it has to be within your reach. And what they call within your reach is not turning around to get it. In other words, if it's in your backpack, it better be in your eyesight. And that's part of this law. So, LTC carriers are going to have to understand when they come to campus, if they're going to be in places where they can't carry it, or if they're going to the gym to work out or whatever's going on, it's their responsibility to get that thing concealed back in their car or back in their private property.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be very close scrutiny and discussion when you guys come to us.
Mr. Martin, I also wanted to let you know that we went to Austin 2 weeks ago. Chief Stone, Dean Finley, and myself went to Austin for a training over this, and Chief Stone was actually one of the panel members for that training. So I feel like that must mean we're ahead of everybody else. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes.
All right.
Chief, one more question. Is it contemplated that the teachers and all the personnel that are on the campus are going to be fully versed in this law?
Yes.
and how it's supposed to be?
One of the things we're working on, and we'll be glad to present to you too, or send to you guys when we're through with it, while we're getting ready for the next board meeting, is PowerPoint. And it's going to go through everything that you might have a question over. So, and we're going to put that on our website to where any faculty, staff, citizen, or student can just tap on it and get all the answers that hopefully they'll have.
Are you, as part of your survey, students also getting some input from them to see what they
We've discussed
suggest?
that, sir. We haven't actually submitted the survey to student population, but it's an idea that I know several schools looked into. We've kind of gone back and forth on it. So.
Only in all of the campuses that are carrying now, they're saying that only 2 to 3% of that population is actually carrying. So we're talking small numbers, and that's what I expect here. Maybe even a little smaller since we're a community college.
And there's an age requirement on that too.
21.
I mean, you have to have the Texas concealed handgun license.
Yes, but you have to be.
And that includes a background
Yes.
check and proficiency training and legal training and a little bit of psychological haste. Think before you act type of stuff.
We hope. Yes, sir.
Great. I'm glad you're staying on top of that. Any other questions or comments?
No, thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you. Future agenda items.
We will be bringing the preliminary budget report to you very soon, also quarterly investment reports for February the 29th of 17. And at the end of our April board meeting, we will be doing a budget workshop with the board. If you remember last year, we did the budget workshop. It kind of let you see the direction that we were headed as far as spending more money on technology last year, the different areas that we were looking at as priorities, and it lets you tell us what your priorities are for the budget moving forward into next year. So we'll be doing that at the end of our April board meeting. We will recess our April board meeting and then we'll go immediately into the budget workshop.
Okay. Announcements, number 9.
Yes, sir. You have a long list of events in your board packet. I'm just going to hit a couple of highlights. You have 5 basketball games, 23 baseball games, 18 softball games there, and I'm including the games within double headers. One thing coming up this Saturday, our softball team, along with our physical therapy assistant program, is having a canned food drive at the games at Stewart Field, and that canned food will be for the Pythian home here in Weatherford. 2 o'clock start and 4 o'clock for the 2 games there. And that'll be a good thing they're doing. Lots of other games before that. Drama has a production in February 23rd to the 25th. It's the production they're taking to the state competition this year. It's called All in the Timing. Second page there, of course, you see Spring Break starting March the 13th. Our Jazz Fest is March the 24th. That's jazz bands from high schools all over the area coming here for workshops, etc. It's a great opportunity for those kids. Good recruiting tool for us, too. And then our jazz band is putting on a concert that night, along with some others, at 7:30, March 24th. On March the 30th, we're excited. We're going to have the juniors and seniors of Weatherford High School that are interested in looking at Weatherford College. That morning, the school is going to be doing some testing for the sophomores, and so the juniors and seniors are going to colleges all over the area, and a large group of them are going to be here. And so Adam's office and my office working together to provide tours and some food and some orientation for the kids that morning on March the 30th. That'll be good. Our art exhibition reception is April the 10th at Texas Hall. And that's all I have for you.
Very good. One other announcement, I believe we still have a session scheduled, a board meeting scheduled for tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
At 5 o'clock. Just want to make sure that that's on there. All right. Item number 10 is to go into closed session. So I'd like everyone, if you would, to leave except the board and Dr. Eaton and Mr. Curley. And take a couple of minutes, then we'll go back into open session. I mean, into closed session. Thank you. We ready? Okay, it is 3:35. Unless there is anything else, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.